Hello everybody, this is Johnny S with another game review. We're going to review Ride 5. This is a motorcycle, a bike game, let's call it. There have been many bikes available over the years. This is my personal favorite at the time of this video. The name is called Ride 5. There have been quite a few prequels to this, so another four prequels to this. It's available on Steam. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's around $50, but there are discounts from time to time. Uh, I'm not going to go into a lot of great detail. I'm just going to say that if you are interested in any bike game, I will suggest you start with this at the moment. So it has the the new graphics and everything, and it has a good control and configuration between simulation and arcade. And it's easy on beginners, and then you can go into much more simulation, like let's say, setup. Um, at the moment behind you can see the bike that I have chosen, which is an R6. The bikes are available. There are quite a few bikes, and there are street bikes, and some are race modded, let's say, bikes. So you can get actual, proper street bikes available if you want. The reason why I have chosen Yamaha is because I've got an R6. My one is a 2007 model. The game does not have every single bike and every single year. For the R6 for Yamaha, for example, it had the 2015 model, so that was the closest to mine. Um, I'm going to showcase one stage, just so you can see the in-game what it's like, and I will show before we go into that a little bit, what you can do. So you have your profile, you have your personal garage, which is the bikes that you have unlocked. At the moment, I have unlocked the R1 2004 model, 2015 R6, R7 2022. So that's from Yamaha. I have unlocked a few from Virus. I've got some Triumphs, some TM Racing. I've got some Suzuki's, a motorbike. I've got some MV Agustas, including the Brutal. You can spin it around, and at any point of time you can see the detail on the bike. Very excellent graphics. Moto Guzzi, Biaggi, K10, you got Ninjas, so we got the Kawasaki's, we got Husqvarna, we got the Hondas, we got Ducatis, BMWs. There's many bikes, Aprilias, and these are the ones that I've bought. If you actually go to the dealership, then you can have the other bikes as well. So these are all the brands that you can actually get in the game, and you can navigate through them. So if you want, let's say, an MV Agusta, you go to the MV Agusta. You go to the sports section. So at the beginning there's naked, then there's sport bikes, then there is naked racing modified, and then there's sport racing modified bikes. You can have some really old ones, and you can have some really newer models. So this is like 2000 and the 1969 bike. This is a 2019, so it's much more. And some of them they have racing modified. So these sports racing they have been modified and which have better stats. So on the right hand side you can see the stats. You can mod your bike, which means you can buy a normal bike, and then by spending money you can upgrade it, and you can add more brakes. You can add some things like that. I will show you a couple of that I've done on my bike. Another option that you have is to customize your rider. So you have rider information. I got Johnny here as my avatar, your nationality, body, and everything. And you can customize his gear. So you have different saved profiles, and then you can change from your helmet, your visor, your gloves. There's many selections: suit, knee sliders, and boots. And there's all the known brands. So there's Alpine Stars, Cortec, Dainese, whatever brand you can imagine, you can have it, you can save it, and you can customize your guy. You have some visual aspects that you can control as well. So how your rider leans in the bike, let's say, when he starts, does he have both feet down? When he brakes, does he put his leg out? How many fingers he's using for his brakes? And there's a lot of graphical detail that you can actually see these things. It does not make a difference on the performance. It's just aesthetic. So, and bike tuning, if you go into it, these are the different sections and the different things you can configure on your bike, and you can make it a little bit better to perform a little bit better. Uh, As far as competitiveness, it doesn't make a huge difference. As far as game control and the sense and the responsiveness, it makes a huge difference. So it is good to do it. Don't expect to come first because you've upgraded your bike. But when you first get a stock bike and you drive it around the track and then you start changing some things, then you really see how the bike behaves. So it's quite a realistic sort of control feel. The feedback is quite realistic of the game. So you can fix the engine. You can put a different exhaust. For example, you put the stock. As you can see, this is the stock exhaust. I have put an Akropovich, and if you go to the stock, you will see on the right hand side that you lose a little bit of the stats. So every single thing that you do here actually upgrades your bike. You can change the transmission, the brakes, obviously having a better brake suspension allows you to modify your suspension different settings on each track that you go. The chain is purely cosmetic. Buying a chain just allows you to color your chain, and I've colored it red. Rims are performance difference, tires are performance difference, mirrors, you can put the mirrors on and off. I've got mine on because in real life I have no mirrors on. But on the back side, I have taken my number plate off. So this is something that in real life I've got a small number plate. So I kind of try to make the bike as much as my own bike. It's a different gear model, okay, but it's quite similar. So that's as much as customization. Let's go to a single race just to showcase. There's different tracks that you can pick. I will choose Magello. You've got quite a few tracks. There must be around 30 tracks, if I can remember. Some of them are MotoGP tracks. Some are real life tracks. So like in America, there's a specific, you can actually go through real life things. And some are like MotoGP stages or Superbike stages. You can control the weather, you can control the race settings, so how many laps, the difficulty, the aggressiveness, qualifier or opponents. I've got one opponent at the moment, just so it doesn't actually. Let's put four opponents, make it more realistic. So let's put 19 opponents. Riding gear you can select on your bike, obviously, and you got riding aids. This is quite important. The way that I like to play is I try to enable as much as assists as I need in order for me not to crash all the time, and disable most that I can in order to feel more realistic. So I'm going to go really quick through them and just to give you like an overview. So auto brakes, I don't want the game to brake for me. I'm going to brake. Joint brakes, one button is front and back brake. I have enabled that. Brake input modulation, I want the game to not allow me to over brake and crash. So I've enabled that. Automatic steering deactivated. I don't want the game to steer my bike or limit my lane angle. I would have full control of it. Cornering input, again, disable. I don't want the game to do anything on my cornering. Acceleration, semi-automatic. I don't have to change the gears. So I can focus on braking and acceleration, make it more fun. Acceleration input modulation disabled. I do not want the game to control my acceleration, and I don't want to have automatic throttle. As far as aids goes, I have the ideal trajectory. So basically, when I race, you're going to see a line. It's going to be a blue color, a yellow, and a red. Red means you're going too fast. Yellow means you're on the limit. Blue means you're good. So as you're driving through the corners, seeing red, you can actually play around with the brakes and acceleration, and that will give you a good indication when you're going to go out of the turn, how far to the left you're going to go. So that's something that you can, for realism, you can turn it off later on when you get comfortable. But especially on new tracks that you've never raced, I suggest you put it on because it gives you an idea of where the line is, how to take the turn, and how fast or how slow you're going. So this is really helpful. So let's start the race. There's not a lot of things to mention about the game. It's quite simple. The logic is self-explanatory. It's a bike game. It's a racing game, but it does have a lot of customizable aspects to it. So once you start, you can change a couple of things, like the tires. You can go into your bike setup. You can change suspension, transmission, vehicle geometry, electronics, traction control, and everything. You can change the weather. You can change the race settings. and you can start the race. The good thing with the game is that it will automatically adjust your bike depending on the like on a pre-setup, let's say, depending on the stage, depending on the weather, if it's raining or not, it will automatically change things, change the settings for you. But if you want to go into more like detail, you can actually go into it and you can modify things. Let's say there's a track where there's not a lot of straights and there's more turns. You might want to go to bike setup, for example, and change the transmission and make it like a shorter transmission for more acceleration focus. So there's a lot of things you could do. Let's start the race. I'm going to show you a little bit of the graphics before I actually go and do one of the races. So I'm going to let everybody pass me. This is the bike. You can look behind as well. You can press the brake and you can go backwards. And you can steer it backwards as well. You can do wheelies. So if you hold back on the gas, you can actually crash your bike as well. So it is quite sensitive on the grass areas and everything. You can do an endo. So if you press forward and brake, it's going to endo, obviously. There's different views. So some guys like to play with this view. I do not suggest it. It's quite confusing because the whole screen shakes. This is a very good view, so you get a realistic feel of what the bike is like and what it will be like in real life. So so you can move your bike around. Let's take one turn just to show you. There we go. So this is kind of gets you into it. There's one more realistic, which is the helmet. This is quite difficult because you go really low on your bike, so it's really difficult to control and understand where your tires are. This is a front view, so you cannot see your bike at all. And this is the view that I like. There's also this one, which gives you more visibility of the map. So some people will suggest, they will prefer this because they can see the turn. But personally, it takes me a little bit outside of the action. So I'd like to be third perspective, but I like to be here. So I can see my bike, see my position, see my tires, and see exactly where I am on the stage. Let's go restart. So that was just to show you a little bit of graphics. And let's have a proper race. I've taken the collisions off, and you can turn them on when you get more comfortable. So just to show you what it looks like. And there's mixed bikes on the stage. I'm not an expert on this, but I've played quite a bit. Yep, we've gone white. Okay, and we crashed. So at least you got to see what a crash looks like. So because I've taken a lot of the controls and a lot of assists out, I have to take care of when I brake, how I control the bike. But the difficulty of the game of the AI, I've got it on low, and I've got the collisions off as well. So if you've got the collision zone, it really, really becomes very difficult, just like in real life. So when you want to pass, an opponent, you got to really think about where you are, where your opponent is, and how to pass them. You can easily crash, which means you will ruin your position. Yeah, I pressed too much the brakes. So you can lock your brakes. You can, you have to really be careful of your inputs. I'm using the PlayStation controller, which is an analog input, so I can control, the strength of my brake and everything. And as you can see the blue line, which indicates where the ideal line is or where the speed is. If you go off the track and you touch the green areas, you will get penalized. And like I said, this difficulty at the moment is very easy. So my opponents, you will see, they will lose the line as well. They will go off the track. Sometimes they will crash. Um, but yeah, it is doable. I'm no expert at the game by any means. I have found the settings which are quite realistic, but with a few assists, especially in the braking. Braking is one of the components which is really hard on the game. So I got confused. I thought I had collisions. So usually I play with collisions, just to make a disclaimer. So I'm not used to actually going through guys, and sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. So I try to avoid them. But yeah, I don't need to avoid them. So at the moment we are fourth. So we got quite a good position. We're taking our line quite good here. So we actually took it better than most of the other guys. And yeah, some stages they're not that much forgiven when it goes to touching the white lines. It depends on the track and it depends on the stage. Other tracks you're able, so that falls in place with actually familiarizing with actually the track. So yeah, I mean, if I did not crash once or twice, this will have been. I will probably be first now. So there's one more lap. Hopefully we can go a little bit better, just so I can get ahead and show you. If not, then we'll stop it. There's no point. So there we go. We're first. So it is doable. Just want to show that. And on the right hand side, you can actually see your gas and your brakes, your percentage and what's happening. This is the place that we crashed last time, so we gotta take care. You can see the line goes blue, so I'll try to stay within the blue color. If I see red, like here, I'll press my brake, take it, press my brake, blue, press the gas. Press the gas, I see a little bit thing, let it go, press the gas, so it's blue. So it gives you an indication as you're going through the stage, you know what I mean? Here you can see red, so full brake, 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 let it go a little bit, turn, press it a little bit more, let it go, with no gas, now gas. And that will take you where the line is. You can push it more, so if you have a pay attention, the line is not at the limits, it gives you like a good sort of path. So brake, full brake, and let the brake go, full acceleration. And one of the reasons that I want to show the replay, not to actually show off, is because once you complete it, you can actually view the replay of the race, and you can actually go slow motion. There's different cameras that you can put. So you can got your back camera, you got the wide camera. These cameras are the cameras in game as well. So this is the realistic one. This is the one with the helmet. It's a different one. The one that I like, which is not available in the game, is this one here, which is like a camera, say realistic. And you can go backwards, and you can zoom in, you can pause it, and you can go at normal speed as well. I think normal speed is this one. So So I like to, as you can see, the movement of the character is very realistic as well. So you can see his hands, you can see his brake. When he changes gear, you can see his foot. His leaning in his body position is quite good. When you go to take the turn, he will take his backside to the side of the brake. Depending on what finger you have selected, you will see him press the brake with one or two fingers. If you've put him to put the leg out, he will put the leg out as well. There's a lot of effects in the game as well, like skid marks and everything on the stage as well. And yeah, I mean, you can find one of your favorite bikes, and you can. In my case, I chose the bike, my actual bike, or whatever was closest to it. But there is quite a big variety. So like for Honda, for example, you can get most of the CBR 600s, the front wheel lock there. That's why I drove. You can get the Fireblades. You can get quite a few Suzuki's again, all the G6Rs. Not all the years, but you can get the bigger ones. So for Yamaha, for example, from 2006 there was a different in model, and then in 2008 there was again a different change in model. But there were very minor changes. So what they've done is they put the 2015 model, Then the 2020, 22, which totally changed the look, they've got one of those there as well. So, the developers they try to cover quite a few big differences, let's say, visually on the bikes. So yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed the review. I do recommend this game; it's really, really fun. Since on the road we have to be safe and drive safe. If you want to go extreme, then you have a bike and you find your bike in this game, you can actually race it and see what it's like, at least visually, to be on the track. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and I'll bid you good night.